My parents burn me once a year. Today I found out the horrifying reason why. Every year on my birthday, my parents held me down and pressed a hot iron to my spine. The first burn happened when I turned 1. I don't remember it, but I've seen the photos. My dad pinning my arms, my mom heating the brand over the stove, a small circular scar at the base of my neck. By the time I turned 5, I had 5 brands running down my spine like buttons. I screamed every single time, begged them to stop, but they never explained why. My mom would just cry and whisper, "I'm so sorry, baby. We have to. We have to." The school never found out. The burns were always hidden under my shirt. My parents pulled me out of swimming lessons, canceled sleepovers, made sure no one ever saw my back. I thought they were monsters. I was wrong. Last night was my 18th birthday. 18 brands. One for every year I've been alive. But this time, something was different. My parents didn't prepare the iron. Instead, they sat me down at the kitchen table with a box I'd never seen before. Brown leather, brass lock. It smelled like smoke and something older, something rotten. "It's time you knew," my dad said. His hands were trembling. Before midnight, my mom couldn't even look at me. Inside the box was a stack of photographs, black and white, yellow with age. The first one showed a baby with a single burn mark on its neck. It was dated 1892. I flipped to the next. A toddler with 2 marks, 1893. Then a child with 5 marks, 1896. A teenager with 12, 1903. Different clothes, different decades, but every single photo showed the same face. My face. "I don't understand," I whispered. My dad pulled out a death certificate from the bottom of the box. The name on it was mine. The date of death was March 15th, 1909. Cause of death, immolation. "You burned alive," my mom said, her voice breaking, "in a church fire. You were 18 years old, and 3 days later, a baby was born to a family 2 towns over. A baby with your exact face and a birthmark shaped like a flame on the back of its neck." I touched the scar at the base of my spine. The first one, the one I'd always had. "Every 18 years you come back," my dad continued. "Same face, same soul. You find a family, you're born to them, and on your 18th birthday," he couldn't finish. "What happens on my 18th birthday?" Neither of them answered. I grabbed my dad's arm. "What happens?" My mom finally looked at me. Her eyes were red and swollen. "You burn again, no matter where you are, no matter what you do. At midnight on your 18th birthday, you catch fire and burn alive. Every single time, for over 100 years. The clock on the wall read 11:47 p.m. "The brands are the only thing that's ever slowed it down," my dad said quickly. "Fire on fire. We mark you every year to convince whatever's inside you that you've already burned, that you've paid the price. It's the only thing that's kept you alive past 18. But it's not enough anymore," my mom whispered. "You're too old now. 18 marks aren't enough to fool it." I looked down at my hands. They were shaking. No, not shaking. Smoking. Thin wisps of gray curled from my fingertips like candle wicks. "There's one more thing in the box," my dad said. He reached past the photos and pulled out a rusted metal journal. The cover was burned at the edges. "We found this in the church, the one you died in. It was hidden under the altar." I opened it. The handwriting inside was mine. I recognized it immediately. Same loops, same slant, same way I crossed my T's. The first entry was dated March 10th, 1909, 5 days before I burned. "I know what I am now. I know why the fire keeps calling me back. I know what lives inside my chest, and I know what it wants. It's not trying to kill me. It's trying to get out." The clock struck 11:51. My arms were glowing now, orange light pulsing under my skin like embers. "Keep reading," my dad begged. "The answer is in there. We've never been able to get past page 7. The heat was too intense, but you can. You have to." I flipped forward. The pages were warped from heat damage. Sentences were missing. Words were melted away. But on page 12, circled in what looked like blood, were 3 words. "Don't let it." The rest of the sentence was burned away. I looked up at my parents. They were backing toward the door. My mom was crying again. "What did I find?" I asked. "What's inside me? What am I?" Before they could answer, every light in the house exploded. My skin split open, and something underneath started laughing. The last thing I saw before the flames took my vision was the final page of the journal. A page I hadn't reached yet. A page that was somehow untouched by fire. On it was a drawing of a creature crawling out of a burning body. Underneath it, in my own handwriting, were the words, "By the time you read this, it's already too late. I'm so sorry for what you're about to become. This was never a curse. It was an incubation." The clock struck midnight. I opened my mouth to scream. Something else screamed instead. The sound that came out of me wasn't human. It was the shriek of 1,000 fires igniting at once, the roar of forests burning, the crack of timber splitting in heat. My jaw stretched wider than it should have been able to, dislocating with a wet pop that I felt more than heard. The scream kept coming, kept pouring out of me like smoke from a chimney, and I realized with horror that I wasn't the one screaming at all. Something was using my throat. The fire erupted from my chest first, not spreading across my skin like normal flames would, but pushing outward from inside, like something was clawing its way through my ribcage. I watched my shirt blacken and curl away, watched the skin beneath glow orange and then white, and then split open in lines that followed my bones. My parents were screaming too now. I could barely hear them over the roar in my ears, but I saw their mouths open, saw them pressed against the far wall of the kitchen, saw the terror in their eyes. Not just fear of the fire, fear of me, fear of what was coming out of me. I tried to tell them to run. I tried to say I loved them, that I was sorry, that I didn't want this, but my mouth wasn't mine anymore. My vocal cords vibrated with sounds I wasn't making. My tongue moved in patterns I didn't choose. The thing inside me spoke its first words through my lips. "Finally," it said. "Finally, finally, finally." And then the pain really began. You want to know what it feels like to burn alive from the inside? It feels like being born in reverse. Every cell in your body remembering that it was once nothing, once chaos, once pure energy, and deciding to return to that state all at once. The fire doesn't consume you. It unmakes you. It takes everything you are and renders it down to ash and light and screaming. But I didn't die. I should have died. Every other time, I died. I'd read the death certificates, seen the photographs of charred remains, understood that for over 100 years, I'd been dying on my 18th birthday and coming back 3 days later in a new body, a new family, with no memory of what came before. This time was different. This time, the thing inside me had finally grown strong enough to keep me alive through the burning, to use my body as a doorway instead of a funeral pyre. I felt it crawling up my spine, vertebra by vertebra, each point of contact sending fresh waves of agony through what was left of my nervous system. It was using the brands as handholds. 18 years of burn marks, 18 points of weakness in whatever barrier had kept it contained, and now it was climbing them like a ladder. My parents had stopped screaming. I couldn't see them anymore. My eyes had boiled away in the first few seconds, leaving only the fire's vision, a strange heat sense that painted the world in shades of orange and red and white. But I knew they were still there. I could feel their body heat, 2 cool blue shapes pressed against a wall that was starting to smolder. The thing reached my skull. I felt it wrap around my brain like fingers closing around a fruit. Felt it squeeze, just enough to let me know it could crush me whenever it wanted. Felt it settle in behind my eyes, my now hollow eyes, and look out at the world for the first time. 131 years, it said with my mouth. 131 years in the dark, in the ash, in the nothing between lives, waiting, growing, feeding on your fear and your pain and your endless, endless burning. It made me turn turned my head toward my parents, made me look at them with eyes made of flame. "Thank you for the marks," it said. "Each one was a meal. Each one made me stronger. You thought you were saving him, but you were feeding me." My mom collapsed. My dad caught her, held her, stared at me with a face that had gone completely white. "You're not our son," he said. His voice was shaking but steady. "You're not Elijah." "I am now," the thing said. "I'm everything he ever was. Every memory, every fear, every moment of love and pain and hope. I've eaten all of it. I've become him so completely that even I can't tell where he ends and I begin." That wasn't true. I was still in here, trapped somewhere in the back of my own skull, watching through eyes I no longer controlled, feeling my body move in ways I didn't command. I was still Elijah, still me, but I didn't know how long that would last. The thing made me take a step toward my parents. The floor beneath my feet caught fire with each step. The walls were burning now, the ceiling starting to glow. The whole house was becoming a furnace, and my parents were trapped inside with the thing that used to be their son. "I'm going to walk out of here," the thing said. "I'm going to walk into the world, and I'm going to burn everything, everyone, every city, every forest, every ocean. I've been waiting so long to be free, so long to feel the wind and taste the air and watch everything turn to ash." It was monologuing, gloating, savoring the moment. That gave me time. The journal. My past self had written something in that journal, something about how to stop this. I'd seen the drawing, the creature crawling out of the burning body. I'd seen the apology. "I'm so sorry for what you're about to become." But there had been more. There had to be more. My past self had known this was coming. He'd had 5 days to prepare, 5 days between discovering the truth and burning in that church. He must have found something, must have left me a way out. I focused every scrap of will I had left on my right hand. The thing controlled my body, but maybe if I pushed hard enough, I could move just one finger, just enough to reach into my pocket where I'd shoved those pages I'd torn from the journal before the burning started. The thing noticed. "Ah," it said, and I felt its attention turn inward, felt it looking at me the way a cat looks at a mouse. "You're still in there, still fighting. Good. Your fear tastes better when there's hope mixed in." It squeezed my brain again. Pain exploded through my skull like a bomb going off. I felt myself slipping, fading, becoming less, but I didn't stop pushing. My finger twitched. The thing laughed. "You think you can fight me? I've had 131 years to prepare for this moment. I've been inside you since before you were born. I know every synapse in your brain, every neuron, every pathway. I am you, little spark. I'm just more." My hand closed around the pages in my pocket. I didn't pull them out. I couldn't, but I could feel them. Feel the words burned into the paper by my past self's hand. And somehow, touching them, I could read them. Not with my eyes, but with something deeper. Something the fire couldn't reach. The journal had more entries than I'd been able to see before. My past self had written frantically in those final days, filling page after page with research and theories and desperate plans. He'd found answers. He'd found the truth, and he'd hidden it in a way that only another version of himself could access. March 11th, 1909. I found the records today. Church records going back to 1743. That's when it started. That's when the first baby was born, with the flame-shaped birthmark. His name was Ezekiel Thorne. He was born to a minister and his wife in a small village in Massachusetts. By all accounts, he was a normal child, bright and curious, and beloved by everyone who knew him, until his 18th birthday. The records describe what happened that night as a manifestation of divine wrath. Ezekiel burst into flames during evening prayers, burning so hot and so fast that half the congregation died before they could escape the church. His body was never recovered. Just ash and a strange mark burned into the floor where he'd been standing. 3 days later, a baby was born to a family 3 villages over. A baby with Ezekiel's face and a birthmark shaped like a flame. March 12th, 1909. I've been tracking the pattern every 18 years, without fail. The baby is born, grows up, burns on their 18th birthday, and returns 3 days later in a new body, over and over and over. But the thing is, the burnings are getting worse. The first one killed 40 people. The second killed 60. By the time I was born in 1891, the most recent burning had killed 300. Whatever is inside us, it's growing. Each cycle makes it stronger. Each death feeds it more power. And I've done the math. At the current rate of growth, the next burning, my burning, will kill over 1,000 people. But that's not the worst part. The worst part is what happens after. I found accounts, hidden accounts, of what the creature becomes when it finally hatches. When it stops using our bodies as incubators and starts walking the world on its own. It's not just fire. It's not just destruction. It's the end of everything. March 13th, 1909. I know what it is now. I found the name in a book that was supposed to have been destroyed centuries ago. A book written by the first Ezekiel in the hours before he burned. He called it the pyrophage, the fire that eats. It's not a demon. It's not a god. It's something older than both. Something that existed before the universe had form, when everything was just chaos and energy and heat. It was trapped when the world cooled, imprisoned in the spaces between atoms, waiting for a chance to return. Ezekiel let it in. He was experimenting with things he shouldn't have been experimenting with, calling on powers he shouldn't have been calling on. He wanted to speak to angels. Instead, he cracked open a door to something much worse. The pyrophage couldn't enter our world completely, not all at once. It needed a vessel, a body to incubate in, to grow in, to feed on, until it was strong enough to manifest fully. It chose Ezekiel, planted a seed of itself in his soul, and that seed has been growing ever since, passing from body to body, life to life, building strength with each burning. I am the 7th vessel, the 7th incubation cycle, and according to the book, 7 is the number it needs. 7 cycles to reach maturity, 7 lives to consume, 7 burnings to crack the door open wide enough for it to step through completely. I am the last. After me, there won't be another baby born with the flame-shaped birthmark. There won't need to be. After me, the pyrophage will be free. March 14th, 1909. I found a way to stop it. It's not a solution. It's barely even a plan, but it's the only chance we have. The pyrophage feeds on fire, on heat, on the energy released when things burn. That's why the brands slow it down. Fire on fire, pain on pain. It confuses the creature, makes it think the burning has already happened, buys the vessel a little more time. But 18 brands aren't enough for the 7th cycle. The creature is too strong now, too hungry. It will push through whatever barriers the marks create, unless the vessel burns before midnight, unless the vessel chooses to burn, willingly, of their own free will, before the pyrophage can take control. The creature needs the full 18 years to mature. It needs to reach the moment of hatching on its own terms, in its own time. If the vessel dies early, if the vessel burns before the cycle is complete, the creature is thrown back to the beginning, weakened, diminished, forced to start over with a new vessel, a new incubation. But that's not enough. It will just keep trying, keep growing, keep coming back. The cycle will continue until it eventually succeeds, unless the vessel burns completely, body, mind, and soul. Every trace, every fragment, every piece that the pyrophage has attached itself to. There's only one fire hot enough to do that. Only one flame that can burn away something that existed before the universe. The fire that created everything. The first fire. I know where it is, I know how to reach it, and I know what I have to do. March 15th, 1909. Today is the day. If you're reading this, future me, then I failed. I'm sorry. I tried everything I could, but it wasn't enough. The pyrophage won. It used my body to hatch, and now it's out there, in the world, burning everything in its path. But there's still a chance. There's always a chance. The first fire still exists. It's hidden, protected, waiting for someone who knows how to find it. Ezekiel, the original vessel, he didn't just let the pyrophage in. He also found the one thing that could destroy it. The one flame that burns even fire. He hid it in the place where everything began. The church where he first cracked open the door. The church where I'm writing these words right now. The church is going to burn tonight. I'm going to make sure of it. And when it burns, the first fire is going to be revealed. It's been waiting under the altar for almost 200 years, waiting for someone desperate enough to use it. I was supposed to be that someone. I was supposed to take the fire into myself, let it burn away the pyrophage before it could hatch. But I'm out of time. I can feel the creature moving inside me, waking up, getting ready to emerge. I have minutes, maybe less. So I'm leaving this journal for you, for the next me, the 8th vessel. Wait, that's not right. I'm the 7th. There shouldn't be an 8th. Unless I'm wrong. Unless what I did tonight wasn't enough. Unless the pyrophage was smarter than I thought, more prepared, more patient. If you're reading this, that means the creature found a way to survive. It let me think I destroyed it. It hid a piece of itself somewhere I couldn't reach, somewhere the fire couldn't touch. And when I died, it attached itself to the next vessel anyway. I'm so sorry. I thought I could end it. I thought I could save you. But there's still the first fire. There's still a way. Find the church. Find what's hidden beneath the altar. Take the fire into yourself before midnight on your 18th birthday. It will kill you. It will burn away everything you are, everything you might have been. You won't come back. There won't be another cycle, another vessel, another chance. But you'll take the pyrophage with you. You'll drag it into the first fire, into the flame that existed before anything else, and you'll burn together until there's nothing left of either of you. That's the only way to end this. That's the only way to save everyone. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I never wanted this for you. But please, future me, don't let it win. Don't let it. The pages stopped there. The rest had been burned away in the church fire, the one my past self had started on his last night alive. But now I understood. Now I knew what I had to do. The first fire, the church, the altar. But the church had burned down over 100 years ago. There was nothing left of it but ruins, a foundation overgrown with weeds, a historical marker that no one ever read, or was there? The thing inside me was still monologuing, still savoring its moment of triumph. It had turned my body toward the door, was walking me through the burning house toward the outside world. In minutes, it would be free, fully manifested, ready to begin its campaign of destruction. But it didn't know what I knew. It had been dormant during those final days of my past self's research, sleeping in the dark corners of his soul while he desperately searched for answers. It didn't know about the first fire, didn't know about the altar, didn't know that my past self had failed on purpose, had let himself be caught by the burning because he knew the pyrophage was too strong to destroy directly. He hadn't failed. He'd been buying time, 113 years of time, while the first fire waited beneath the ruins of a church in Massachusetts, waiting for me to find it. The thing stepped through the front door of my parents' house. The night air hit my burning skin, and I felt the creature shudder with pleasure. Stars wheeled overhead, cold and distant. The town spread out before me, streetlights and houses and cars, millions of things waiting to burn. Beautiful, the thing whispered. So much fuel, so much to consume. But I wasn't looking at the town. I was looking at the forest beyond it, the dark mass of trees that stretched toward the mountains. I was looking at the road that led north, toward Massachusetts, toward the ruins of a church that had burned down before my great-great-grandparents were born. The creature felt my focus shift, felt my attention pull towards something in the distance. What are you looking at, little spark? It asked. What do you see? I didn't answer. I couldn't answer. But I thought about the first fire as hard as I could. Thought about how hot it must be, how bright, how all-consuming. Thought about what it would feel like to burn so completely that not even ash remained. The creature laughed. You think you can bait me? You think you can trick me into walking towards something dangerous? I've been inside your head for 18 years, Elijah. I know every thought you've ever had, every fear, every hope, It stopped. I felt it digging through my memories, searching for what I'd been thinking about, searching for the first fire, but it couldn't find anything, because the knowledge wasn't in my memories. It was in the pages in my pocket, the pages I was still touching, the pages that connected me to my past self through something deeper than time. What is that? The creature asked. Its voice had changed, less gloating, more uncertain. What are you hiding from me? I didn't have lips anymore, didn't have a tongue, didn't have any way to speak. My body was entirely under the creature's control, but I still had thoughts, and I threw one at it with everything I had left. You don't know everything about me. You never did. The creature snarled. It tried to tear the thought away, tried to crush my consciousness into nothing. But for the first time since midnight, I felt it struggle, felt it strain against something it hadn't expected. It was scared. After 131 years of growing and feeding and preparing, after 7 cycles of incubation, after finally hatching into the world it was meant to consume, the pyrophage was scared, because it didn't know what the first fire was. It didn't know where it came from, or what it could do, and it could feel, somewhere in the ruins of my soul, that I knew something it didn't. Tell me, it demanded. Tell me what you're hiding. Number. I'll burn your parents. I'll burn them slowly, 1 inch at a time, and I'll make you watch. Tell me. I looked at my parents through the creature's eyes. They were still inside the burning house, huddled together in a corner that hadn't caught fire yet, still alive, still hoping maybe that their son would find a way to save them. I'm sorry, I thought at them. I'm so sorry, and then I did something I didn't know I could do. I pushed, not with my muscles, not with my voice, with something deeper, something the creature had never touched, because it didn't know it existed. The part of me that had survived 7 cycles of burning, the part that had watched 131 years of pain and death and come back again and again and again, my soul. The pyrophage was attached to my body, wrapped around my brain, fused with my nervous system, but my soul was still mine, damaged, weakened, barely a flicker compared to the inferno the creature had become, but mine, and I used it to take 1 step back. The creature screamed, not with triumph this time, but with shock and rage. It hadn't expected resistance, hadn't imagined that there was anything left of me to resist with. I took another step. Stop! It howled. Stop! You can't! You're nothing! You're ash and memory! You can't! But I could. I was taking my body back, 1 step at a time, forcing the creature to fight for every inch of ground it had claimed. I couldn't win. I knew that. The pyrophage was too strong, too deeply embedded, too much a part of me after 18 years of incubation. Eventually, it would overwhelm me, crush my soul into nothing, resume its march toward destruction. But I didn't need to win. I just needed to get to Massachusetts. The car was in the driveway, my parents' old station wagon, the one they used for grocery runs and road trips and all the normal things that normal families did. The keys were inside, hanging from the ignition where my dad always left them. 300 miles to Massachusetts, 5 hours of driving if I didn't stop. The creature was fighting me harder now, throwing waves of pain and fire through my nervous system, trying to reclaim control. My body was a battleground, a burning house with 2 occupants trying to reach the door at the same time. I got to the car. My hand, more claw than hand now, blackened and smoking, closed around the door handle. The metal melted under my touch, but the door swung open. I fell into the driver's seat. The creature was screaming obscenities in languages that predated humanity. It was clawing at my consciousness, tearing away pieces of my memory, trying to unmake me from the inside inside out. I turned the key, the engine started, I put the car in gear, and I drove. The next 5 hours were the longest of my life, which is saying something considering I've been alive for over 130 years. The creature didn't stop fighting. It threw everything it had at me, hallucinations and pain and whispered promises and screamed threats. It showed me visions of the world burning, cities reduced to ash, oceans boiling, mountains melting. It showed me what it would do to my parents, to my friends, to everyone I'd ever known, but I kept driving. The car caught fire around hour 2. The seats smoldered, the dashboard melted, the windows cracked and shattered from the heat, but the engine kept running, the wheels kept turning, and I kept my foot on the gas. The creature tried to make me crash. It seized my arms, jerked the wheel, aimed me at oncoming traffic and concrete barriers, and anything else that might kill me before I reached my destination. But crashing wouldn't destroy me. I'd survive, I'd heal, I'd walk the rest of the way if I had to. The pyrophage was learning what I'd always known. I was very, very hard to kill. By hour 3, the creature had changed tactics. Instead of fighting me, it started talking, bargaining. We can share, it said. We can coexist. I'll let you keep your consciousness, your memories, your sense of self. You can watch through eyes of fire as we remake the world together. Number, I'll give you power beyond imagining. You'll be a god, Elijah, immortal and unstoppable. Doesn't that appeal to you? After all you've suffered, don't you deserve to be the one causing pain for once? Number, fine. What do you want? Name it. Anything. I've spent eons observing your species, learning your desires. I can give you wealth, fame, love, revenge, whatever you want. I want you to die. The creature was silent for almost a full minute after that. When it spoke again, its voice was different, smaller, almost afraid. You really mean that? You would die just to kill me? I've been dying for 131 years. I'm used to it, but you won't come back. Not this time. The first fire, that's the light that existed before anything else. Before matter, before energy, before the void itself. If you take me into that flame, we'll both be unmade, erased from existence so completely that we'll never have existed at all. Good. The creature fell silent again. I drove. Dawn was breaking when I crossed into Massachusetts. The sun rose behind me, painting the sky in shades of red and orange that felt too appropriate given the circumstances. The creature had stopped talking, stopped fighting, stopped doing anything at all. It was just watching now, waiting. Maybe it was hoping I'd lose my nerve. Maybe it was planning something I couldn't anticipate. Or maybe it had simply accepted what was coming and was preparing itself for the end. I didn't care. I just kept driving. The town was called Ashford. I found that grimly funny. The ruins of the church were on the outskirts, surrounded by forest that had grown up in the century since the building burned. There was a historical marker, just like I'd expected. It said the church had been built in 1723 and destroyed by fire in 1909. It didn't mention any of the deaths. It didn't mention Ezekiel Thorne or the pyrophage or the 7 vessels who had burned and returned and burned again. Some history is too terrible to remember. I stopped the car at the edge of the clearing and stepped out. The ruins were barely visible under the overgrowth. A few stones, a piece of foundation, the suggestion of a floor plan. If you didn't know what you were looking for, you'd walk right past without noticing. But I knew. I could feel it. The first fire was still there, buried, waiting. The creature stirred. You're making a mistake, it said. The fire won't just destroy me. It will destroy everything. The entire town, the entire state, maybe the entire world. Is that what you want? I don't believe you. Believe what you want. But when you crack open that seal and release what's been waiting inside, don't say I didn't warn you. I walked toward the ruins. The ground was warm beneath my feet, not from my own heat, but from something beneath, something that had been burning for centuries, waiting for someone to set it free. The altar was easy to find. It was the only stone that hadn't been overgrown, the only piece of the church that remained exactly as it had been, as if the fire that destroyed everything else had deliberately spared this one thing, as if it had been waiting for me. I knelt before the altar and placed my burning hands on its surface. The stone was cool, impossibly cool given everything around it, and as I touched it, I felt something reach out from beneath, something that was fire but wasn't, something that burned but didn't consume, something that had existed before the universe and would exist after it ended. The first fire. Last chance, the creature said. Its voice was shaking now, actually shaking. Let me go. Let me walk away. I'll leave this world, find another, never bother you again. Just don't open that seal. Why would I trust you? Because you don't have a choice. Because if you release the first fire, you won't just be killing me. You'll be killing yourself, your family, everyone you've ever loved. The fire doesn't discriminate, Elijah. It burns everything. I thought about my parents, about the life I'd never gotten to live, the experiences I'd never gotten to have, the person I might have become if I hadn't spent every year of my existence being burned and reborn and burned again. I thought about Lily, the girl from my chemistry class who I'd had a crush on since sophomore year, about Mr. Henderson, my English teacher, who always believed I could be a writer, about my best friend Marcus, who never asked why I couldn't go swimming or why I always wore long-sleeved shirts even in summer. I thought about everything I was giving up, and then I thought about what the world would become if I didn't. Cities burning, oceans boiling, 7 billion people dying in flames because I was too afraid to let go. I pushed. The altar cracked. Light erupted from beneath it. Light so bright that it had weight, so hot that it made the pyrophage feel like a candle in comparison. The first fire roared into the world, hungry after centuries of containment, ready to consume everything in its path. And I let it consume me first. The pain was beyond anything I'd ever experienced, beyond anything I could describe. The first fire didn't just burn my body, it burned my thoughts, my memories, my sense of self, everything I was, everything I had ever been, unmade in an instant. But I held on. I held on with every scrap of will I had left, held on to the thing that mattered most, the pyrophage. It tried to run, tried to separate itself from me, to flee back into the dark spaces between atoms where it had hidden before, but I wouldn't let it. I wrapped my soul around it like a fist, dragged it toward the fire, forced it to burn with me. No! It screamed. No, please! I've waited so long! I've come so far! The first fire reached its core. The scream that came next wasn't a sound. It was an absence of sound, a hole in the fabric of reality, where a creature that had existed since before time suddenly didn't exist anymore. The pyrophage was gone, and I was going with it. I felt myself dissolving, scattering into the first fire like sparks from a bonfire. My memories, my identity, my soul, all of it breaking apart and drifting away. But just before the end, I felt something else. A hand, reaching through the fire, grabbing hold of me. Not yet, a voice said. You don't get to leave yet. I opened eyes I didn't know I still had. A man was standing in front of me, young, maybe 18, with a face I recognized because I saw it every time I looked in a mirror. Ezekiel Thorne, the first vessel, the one who started all of this. You did it, he said. You actually did it. 7 cycles, 130 years, and you finally ended it. I couldn't speak, couldn't think. The fire was still consuming me, still pulling me apart. The first fire was supposed to destroy everything it touched, Ezekiel continued. That's what the pyrophage believed. That's what I let it believe, back when I first found the flame. But I lied. He smiled. It was a sad smile, full of regret and hope and something else I couldn't identify. The first fire doesn't destroy, it purifies. It burns away what doesn't belong and leaves what does. The pyrophage is gone because it was never meant to exist in this universe. But you, Elijah, you're exactly where you're supposed to be. The fire was changing, softening. Instead of pulling me apart, it was putting me back together. together, building me from scratch, molecule by molecule, memory by memory. You're going to live, Ezekiel said. Really live. For the first time in over a century, you're going to wake up tomorrow, and the day after, and the day after that. No more burning, no more dying, no more coming back. Tears were streaming down my face. Actual tears. I could feel them, wet against skin that was skin again. Not fire, not ash, just skin. What about you? I managed to ask. Ezekiel's smile faded. I started this. I cracked open the door and let that thing through. I've been holding on for 130 years, waiting for someone to close it. Now that you have, he looked down at his hands. They were starting to fade. It's time for me to go. I'm sorry, don't be. This is what I wanted, what I've been hoping for since the moment I realized what I'd done. He looked up at me one last time. Live well, Elijah. Live the life that all of us were denied. And maybe, every once in a while, remember the ones who came before. He dissolved into the first fire, into the light that had existed before anything else. And then the light faded, and I was alone. I woke up in the ashes. The sun was high overhead, bright and warm and completely ordinary. The forest around me was untouched. No fire had spread beyond the circle of the altar. No cities had burned. No oceans had boiled. The first fire had done exactly what Ezekiel said it would. It had purified. I stood up slowly, checking my body. 2 arms, 2 legs, 10 fingers, 10 toes, skin that was pink and healthy. Not a single burn mark anywhere. The brands were gone, all 18 of them. I reached back and ran my hand along my spine, feeling nothing but smooth, unmarked flesh. And the birthmark, the flame-shaped mark that had been at the base of my neck since the day I was born. Gone. I was free. The drive back to my parents' house took another 5 hours. I had to steal a car since mine had burned into an unrecognizable wreck somewhere in Connecticut. I felt bad about the theft, but I'd find a way to pay it back. I had time now. All the time in the world. The house was destroyed. Just a foundation and some blackened timber, still smoking slightly in the morning air. Fire trucks surrounded it. Firefighters picking through the wreckage. Neighbors gathered at the police line, shaking their heads and whispering to each other. I pushed through the crowd, ignoring the hands that tried to stop me. Sir, you can't go in there. It's not safe. That's my house. Those are my parents. The firefighter's expression softened. I'm sorry, son. We haven't found any survivors yet. I kept walking. They'd moved, I told myself. They'd gotten out while the creature was focused on me. They'd run and hidden and were waiting somewhere safe, waiting for me to find them. I stepped over the police tape. The house was still warm, heat radiating from the wreckage like a dying ember. I picked my way through the debris, through the kitchen where I'd learned the truth, through the living room where I'd spent my childhood, through the hallway that led to the bedrooms, and I found them. Huddled together in the corner of what used to be my father's study. Burned beyond recognition, fused together by the heat. 2 shapes that might have been human once. They hadn't escaped, they'd hidden, and they died, waiting for their son to come back and save them. I sank to my knees. I don't know how long I stayed there. Minutes, hours, long enough for the firefighters to find me, to pull me away, to wrap a shock blanket around my shoulders and sit me in the back of an ambulance while someone asked questions I couldn't answer. I told them I'd run. When the fire started, I'd panicked and run, and I didn't remember anything else until I woke up in a field in Massachusetts. They didn't believe me, of course. How could they? But they couldn't prove I'd done anything wrong either. Sometimes there are no villains. Sometimes there's just fire. The investigation took 3 months. In the end, they ruled it accidental. Faulty wiring, they said. Old house, old circuits, happens all the time. They offered their condolences and closed the case. I buried my parents in the cemetery on the hill overlooking town. I stood at the service alone, the only mourner, the only person left who knew what they'd sacrificed to keep me alive. I wanted to tell someone the truth, to explain that they weren't monsters, that the brands hadn't been abuse, that every burn had been an act of love so desperate it crossed the line into madness. But who would believe me? So I kept it to myself. I visited their graves every week, left flowers, talked to headstones that couldn't hear me. I told them about my life, about the job I got at the grocery store, about the apartment I rented with the insurance money, about the completely ordinary existence I was building one day at a time. I think they would have been proud. It's been 10 years now. I'm 28 years old, which is 10 years older than I've ever been before. Every morning I wake up and I'm surprised to still be alive. Every night I go to sleep and I'm surprised that I'm not burning. I got my GED, then a bachelor's degree in history because it seemed appropriate, then a master's. Now I teach at a small community college, explaining the past to students who think it couldn't possibly be as strange as I know it is. I got married last year. Her name is Sarah. She has no idea about any of this. I've thought about telling her, but what would I say? Hey honey, before we met I spent over a century dying in fire and coming back to life. And one time I was possessed by an entity that wanted to destroy the world, and I stopped it by immolating myself in a primordial flame that predates the universe. She'd think I was insane. Maybe I am insane. Maybe none of this ever happened. Maybe I'm a perfectly normal man with a perfectly normal history who just happens to have extremely vivid nightmares about burning. But I don't think so, because sometimes late at night, when Sarah is asleep beside me and the house is quiet, I feel something. A warmth in my chest. A flicker of heat that doesn't belong. The pyrophage is gone. Ezekiel told me it was destroyed, purified, erased from existence. And I believe him. But I also remember what my past self wrote in that journal all those years ago. I'm so sorry for what you're about to become. The creature was inside me for 18 years. It fed on my fear, grew in my pain, attached itself to every part of my being. Ezekiel said the first fire burned away what didn't belong. But what if some of it did belong? What if after 131 years, after 7 cycles of incubation, some piece of the pyrophage had become so intertwined with my soul that even the first fire couldn't separate us? I haven't burst into flames. I haven't had the urge to burn anything or hurt anyone. By every measure, I'm perfectly fine. But the warmth is there, and it's growing. Maybe it's nothing. Maybe it's just my imagination. A psychological scar from everything I went through. Maybe I'll live a long and happy life with Sarah and die peacefully in my bed, and none of this will ever matter again. Or maybe, somewhere deep inside me, something is incubating, something new. Last night, I had a dream. I was standing in a church, not the ruined church in Massachusetts, but a new one. Bright and clean, filled with sunlight streaming through stained glass windows. The pews were empty. The altar was bare, and standing in front of it, waiting for me, was a child. She looked about 4 years old, dark hair, dark eyes, a solemn expression that seemed too old for her face. She was wearing a white dress with a pattern of flames stitched around the hem. "Hello, Father," she said. I woke up in a cold sweat. Sarah was already out of bed, getting ready for work. I could hear her in the bathroom, humming to herself, completely unaware that her husband was sitting in the darkness trying not to scream. "Father, we've been trying to have children for 2 years. So far, nothing. Doctors say there's no medical reason, that it's just bad luck, that we should keep trying. But what if it's not luck? What if something inside me knows what would happen if I reproduced? What if the pyrophage, or whatever's left of it, is waiting for a new vessel? I can't tell Sarah. I can't explain why I suddenly want to stop trying. Why the thought of having children fills me with a terror I can barely contain. She wants a family so badly. She talks about baby names and nursery colors and the house we'll buy when we need more space. And all I can think about is a little girl with dark eyes and a dress covered in flames. Hello, Father. The warmth in my chest is definitely growing. I can feel it now, even during the day. A constant presence that pulses in time with my heartbeat. It's not painful. It's almost comforting, like having a fire inside me, keeping me warm, keeping me safe, keeping me ready. I'm going to Massachusetts tomorrow. Back to the church, back to the altar, back to the place where I destroyed the pyrophage once before. Maybe the first fire can burn whatever's left of it away. Maybe I can purify myself again, truly this time, permanently. Or maybe I'll find something else waiting for me. Something that's been growing in the ashes of that church for 10 years. Something that's been waiting for me to return. Either way, I need to know. Sarah will think I'm going to a history conference. I've told her so many lies already. One more won't matter. If I don't come back, if something happens to me, I want there to be a record. I want someone to know the truth about what I was, what I did, what I might still become. My name is Elijah. I've been alive for over 140 years, even though I only remember the last 28. I killed a creature that wanted to destroy the world, and something inside me has never been the same since. I'm going to face whatever's waiting for me in Massachusetts. And if I find what I'm afraid I'll find, I'm going to burn it. Burn it and myself and everything else if I have to. Because some things are worth dying for, and some things are worth killing, even if it means killing yourself in the process. I learned that lesson a long time ago. My parents taught me, one brand at a time. I'm writing this at a rest stop off Interstate 90, 3 hours from Ashford. The sun is setting, and the sky is the color of fire. I can feel something calling me. Something in the ruins of that church. Something that's been waiting for 10 years. My hands are shaking. No, not shaking. Smoking. Thin wisps of gray curling from my fingertips like candle wicks. Not again. Please, God, not again. But the warmth in my chest is spreading now, reaching out through my veins, filling me with heat that should be terrifying, but somehow isn't. It feels like coming home. I need to drive. I need to get to the church. I need to find the first fire and burn away whatever this is before it's too late. But part of me doesn't want to. Part of me wants to let the heat build. Let the flames consume me. Let whatever's waiting inside finally come out. Because this time, it doesn't feel like a monster. This time, it feels like me. The real me. The me I was always supposed to become. My past self wrote that this was never a curse. It was an incubation. Maybe he was right. Maybe the pyrophage wasn't trying to use me. Maybe it was trying to make me into something more. Something that could survive the first fire. Something that could carry the flame without being consumed by it. Something that could become fire itself. I'm looking at my reflection in the car window. My eyes are starting to glow. Just slightly. Just at the edges. But enough to see in the fading light. They're beautiful. I think I finally understand. The brands weren't holding the fire back. They were feeding it. 18 years of pain and fear and burning. And every single mark made me stronger. Made us stronger. I'm not going to Massachusetts to destroy myself. I'm going to Massachusetts to finish what Ezekiel started 200 years ago. To crack open the door one last time and step through. The creature in the church wasn't the enemy. It was the guardian. And now it's time for me to take its place. I'm putting down the pen now. The fire is getting too strong. And I'm afraid I'll burn the paper if I hold it any longer. If you're reading this, I'm sorry. I'm sorry for what I'm about to become. I'm sorry for what I'm going to do. But not all fires destroy. Some fires purify. And some fires light the way for others. Remember me. Remember what I was before the burning. And when you feel the heat in your own chest, when you wake up with smoke curling from your fingertips, when you look in the mirror and see flames dancing in your eyes, don't be afraid. It's not a curse. It's an incubation. And you're going to be beautiful. The clock on the dashboard reads 11:47 p.m. 13 minutes until midnight. 13 minutes until I find out what I really am. I'm not scared anymore. I'm ready. I'm finally ready. And somewhere in the distance, I can hear something singing. It sounds like fire. It sounds like home. I put the car in drive. The road to Ashford unfolds before me like a ribbon of darkness. The headlights cutting through the night just far enough to show the next curve, the next mile, the next step toward whatever I'm becoming. The warmth in my chest has spread through my entire body now, pulsing with each heartbeat, glowing faintly through my skin like I've swallowed a star. I should be terrified. 10 years ago, this same sensation would have sent me screaming into the night. 10 years ago, I would have done anything to make it stop. But that was before I understood. The pyrophage wasn't the fire. The pyrophage was just a parasite, something that had latched onto the flame and tried to use it for destruction. The real fire, the first fire, the light that existed before anything else, that's something different entirely. And it's been inside me all along. Not growing, not incubating, waiting for me to be ready to receive it. The town of Ashford appears on the horizon like a ghost. Streetlights flicker as I pass, one by one, as if the electricity itself can feel what I'm carrying. Dogs start barking in every house, a chain reaction of animal fear spreading through the neighborhood. Car alarms go off, porch lights flare and burn out. I'm leaving a trail of small fires behind me now. Not intentionally, not yet, but my presence alone is enough to ignite things. Dried leaves on the shoulder of the road, dead grass in the yards I pass, a newspaper in a plastic bag on someone's lawn. I don't stop. The church is waiting. The forest closes in around me as I leave the town behind. The trees are older here, ancient oaks and pines that have watched this road for centuries. They saw Ezekiel Thorne walk this path in 1743. They saw my past selves walk it in 1909 and 1927 and 1945 and 1963 and 1981 and 1999. They've been watching us for almost 300 years, and now they're watching me. The car dies half a mile from the ruins, just stops, the engine cutting out, the lights going dark, every electrical system shutting down at once. I don't need it anymore anyway. I step out into the darkness and start walking. The heat coming off my body is intense now. Grass withers under my feet. Trees lean away from me as I pass, their branches curling back like fingers trying to avoid a flame. Small animals flee in every direction, rabbits and deer and foxes running from the thing that's walking through their forest. I don't blame them. The ruins appear through the trees exactly as I remember them. The foundation stones, the overgrown floor plan, the altar standing alone in the center like a monument to everything that happened here. But something is different. Someone is standing next to the altar. I stop at the edge of the clearing, flames licking up my arms, fire dancing in my eyes, and I look at the figure waiting for me. It's a woman, young, maybe 30, with dark hair and pale skin and eyes that reflect my light like mirrors. She's wearing a simple white dress, the kind you might see at a summer wedding, and her feet are bare against the ash-covered ground. She's smiling. "Hello, Elijah," she says. "I've been waiting for you. Who are you?" "You know who I am. You've always known, even if you didn't have the words for it." I take a step closer. The heat intensifies, flames spreading from my arms to my shoulders to my chest, but the woman doesn't flinch, doesn't back away, just keeps smiling that knowing smile. "I'm the first fire," she says. "Or at least, I'm what happens when the first fire takes a form you can understand. I've been many things over the centuries. A burning bush, a pillar of flame, a sun at the center of creation. Right now, I'm this. Why? Because this is what you need. A face, a voice, something to talk to, something to help you understand what comes next." She gestures at the altar behind her. "You came here to destroy yourself, to burn away whatever's growing inside you before it can become something dangerous. Yes." And now, I look down at my hands. The flames are dancing across my fingers, wrapping around my wrists, climbing up my forearms like living things. They don't hurt. They haven't hurt since the moment I stopped being afraid of them. Now I don't know what I want. The woman nods. That's the first step. Uncertainty. It means you're thinking instead of reacting. It means you're choosing instead of just surviving. Choosing what? She walks toward me, bare feet leaving smoking prints in the ash. When she reaches me, she takes my burning hands in hers. Her touch is cool, impossibly cool, the perfect counterpoint to the inferno I've become. There have been 7 vessels, she says, 7 cycles of incubation, 7 souls who carried a piece of me through the centuries, nurturing it, growing it, preparing it for the moment when it would be ready to emerge. The pyrophage was a corruption, a parasite that attached itself to my spark and tried to use it for destruction. But you destroyed it, Elijah. You burned it away in the very fire it was trying to control. So what's left? What's inside me now? She squeezes my hands. Her smile widens. Me, the real me. Not the destructive aspect that the pyrophage represented, but the creative one. The fire that sparked the stars. The light that drove back the primordial darkness. The energy that made life possible in a universe that was trying so hard to stay cold and dead and empty. I think about the warmth in my chest. The way it's been growing, spreading, filling me up with something that feels more like joy than destruction. The way my eyes have started glowing, not with hunger, but with hope. You're not something to fear, I whisper. You never were. No, I'm something to become. She releases my hands and steps back. But the choice has to be yours, Elijah. I can't force you to accept me. The pyrophage tried to take you by force, and look what happened. True union can only come from willing surrender. What happens if I accept? You become what you were always meant to be. A guardian, a protector, a light in the darkness, burning away the things that shouldn't exist and nurturing the things that should. You won't be human anymore. Not entirely, but you won't be a monster either. You'll be something new, something this world has never seen before. And if I refuse, then I go back to sleep. I find another vessel, another incubation, another 100 years of waiting. And you, she tilts her head, considering. You go back to your life, your wife, your ordinary existence. You might even be happy for a while, but you'll always know what you could have been. You'll always feel the emptiness where I used to be. I think about Sarah, about the life we've built together, about the children we've been trying to have, the future we've been planning, the perfectly normal existence I've worked so hard to achieve. And then I think about my parents, about 18 years of brands, 18 years of pain, 18 years of sacrifice so that I could reach this moment, about my past selves, the 6 who came before me, each one carrying the flame a little further, each one getting a little closer to the truth. They didn't suffer for me to walk away. They didn't die for me to choose ordinary. If I accept, I say slowly, what happens to the people I love? What happens to Sarah? That's up to you. The fire doesn't control you, Elijah. You control it. You can love and marry and build a family and live a life that looks almost normal from the outside. You'll just also be something more, something that steps in when darkness threatens, something that burns away the things that hide in shadows and prey on the innocent. Like a superhero? She laughs. It's a beautiful sound, like the crackle of a hearth fire, like the pop of sparks rising toward the stars, something like that. Though I prefer guardian if you don't mind. Superhero sounds so dramatic. I look up at the sky. The stars are wheeling overhead, ancient and indifferent. The same stars that shone down on Ezekiel Thorne when he first opened the door almost 3 centuries ago. The same stars that will shine down on whatever comes next. The clock in my head, the one that's been counting down since midnight, tells me I have less than a minute left. Okay, I say. Okay, I accept. I surrender. Whatever you want to call it. I take a deep breath. I'm ready to become what I was always meant to be. The woman's smile transforms into something radiant, something that outshines the flames still dancing across my skin. Then let's begin. She places her hand on my chest, right over my heart, and the first fire rushes in. It's nothing like what happened 10 years ago. That was violent, aggressive, a hostile takeover of my body by something that wanted to use me as a weapon. This is something else entirely. A merging, a completion. 2 halves of something that was always meant to be whole finally coming together. The flames that were dancing on my skin sink inward, passing through muscle and bone and blood until they settle in my core. The heat that was threatening to overwhelm me transforms into something I can control, something that responds to my will as easily as my own hands. And the light, God, the light, it's everywhere, in me, around me, through me. I can see things I couldn't see before, the energy coursing through every living thing, the patterns of heat and life that connect everything in the universe, the darkness at the edges of reality, the places where things like the pyrophage wait for their chance to get in. I can see it all, and I know exactly what I need to do. The woman is gone, or rather, she's not gone. She's just inside me now, part of me, a voice that will guide me when I need guidance and stay silent when I need to figure things out for myself. I'm standing alone in the ruins of the church, glowing like a star, and for the first time in over 140 years, I'm not afraid. I'm home. The drive back to my real home takes 6 hours. I don't know how the car started working again, but it did, and I'm grateful for the time to think. Sarah is going to have questions, so many questions, and I'm going to have to figure out how much to tell her, how much she can handle, how much of my new existence can fit into our old life together. But I'm not worried anymore, because I finally understand what my parents were doing all those years. They weren't just keeping me alive. They weren't just fighting off a monster. They were preparing me, training me, toughening my soul, so that when this moment came, I would be strong enough to accept it. 18 brands, 18 years of fire, 18 lessons in how to burn without being consumed. I pull into our driveway just as the sun is coming up. Sarah's car is in the garage, which means she's home, which means I'm about to have the most difficult conversation of our marriage. But as I walk up to the front door, I feel something I haven't felt in years. Hope. Real, genuine, unqualified hope. The kind of hope that burns so bright it could light up the whole world. I open the door, and I step into my new life. Sarah is standing in the kitchen when I walk in. She turns toward me, and I see the question in her eyes, the worry that's been building since I left for my conference, the fear that something is wrong. Then she sees me, really sees me. Elijah, she breathes. Your eyes, I know what she's seeing. The faint golden glow that I can feel burning behind my pupils. The light that's been part of me since the church, since the merging, since I became something more than human. I need to tell you something, I say. Something I should have told you years ago. She doesn't run, doesn't scream, just stands there, watching me with those beautiful brown eyes, waiting for me to explain. So I do. I tell her everything. The cycles, the burning, the 18 brands and the 18 lives and the 140 years I've spent dying and coming back and dying again. I tell her about the pyrophage and the first fire and the choice I made in the ruins of a church in Massachusetts. I tell her what I am now. When I'm finished, she's silent for a long time. So long that I start to wonder if I've made a terrible mistake, if she's going to leave me, if this new life I've been given is going to be a lonely one. But then she walks across the kitchen, takes my hand, and says the words that make everything worth it. I knew there was something special about you. I just didn't know how special. She squeezes my fingers, and I feel her warmth mixing with mine, human heat meeting something older and brighter. Whatever you are now, whatever you're going to become, I want to be part of it. You're not afraid? I'm terrified. She smiles. But I love you. And love is about accepting the whole person, not just the parts you understand. I pull her into my arms, and for the first time since I was 12 years old, since the night I first heard children screaming at 3:52 a.m., since I learned that my birthmark was a curse and my parents were monsters, I feel truly, completely, absolutely at peace. The fire inside me burns, but it's a warm fire now, a hopeful fire, a light in the darkness, exactly like I was meant to be. My name is Elijah. I've been alive for over 140 years. I'm the 7th vessel, the final incubation, the guardian who rose from the ashes ashes of everything that came before, and my story is just beginning.